How long gone? Oh, it's a beautiful, freezing Thursday in New York City. Jason is in the building. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It is cold, but it is not as cold as all my friends were warning me about, which I feel good about. I don't need my Heat Tech Arc'teryx garter belts. Although if you do wear a wide-legged pant, you do sort of get a Marilyn Monroe.
Get some breeze in there.
It goes up in there, up into my meat and two veg. It starts tickling my micropenis. But other than that, I'm fine. You know, I've got my Scully on. I've got my gloves. I've got my parka. It's not a big deal. But that being said, I have mainly been walking from the door of my hotel to the door of the Uber and back. So
that's what I was gonna say. Once you're out there hoofing it, it hits you a little harder. But if you don't hoof it, you're fine. Which is
that's totally fine.
A great way to approach it.
Yeah, it's exhilarating. Or maybe I'm just getting better at the cold. Who knows? But yeah, I got in last night, and then I was like, I'm going to do that thing where I go to the gym and just, hit the treadmill for 30. It's the first thing you do when you land kind of thing. And then the good people at the Standard had a nice charcuterie plate and a couple of beers on the table. And, next thing you know, my ass watching Family Guy.
Sorry to hear that.
Instead of going to the gym. It's fine. I would say that's what tomorrow is for, but I'm not going to do that tomorrow either. So I'm just trying to balance it out by not eating.
Yeah, that's going to go well for you since I'm sure you have reservations for lunch and dinner for 4 days in a row. So
no lunch. I got no lunches planned at all. But dinners are heavily booked.
Well,
I'm going to Penny tonight, so I'm just going to be eating mollusks and things like that. Mussels, clams.
Clams, just
loose crab meat.
Can I get a pound of loose crab meat, please? Like, sir, we don't call it loose crab meat here.
But yeah, I went to Bridges last night, had some delicious oysters, had some king crab, had some sardines. So these are all
but what did you have?
High omega-3 superfoods.
But what did you have for dinner? Because did you have to stop afterwards to get some of this?
No. There was some duck. There was, I even had like a sherry ice cream at the end. That was quite nice, but
Oh, that sounds fun.
Little bread and butter. But all that is to say, I'm able to, eat well here without having like a belly bomb, gut busting, I'm not eating like Fort Charles gooey cheeseburger. Sure. Tater tot with truffle sauce.
It's not like when you're in
It's
not like when you're in LA getting fat Sal's delivered every night. It's totally different. Mm-hmm. Your approach is just totally different.
They got a Raising Cane's here, but I'm staying away from it. And I'm not one of those people that's like I got to get my bagel every morning. It's black coffee.
A bagel is probably the best possible thing, but you can't eating
the best
them is
possible thing. Just in general,
like
period.
In New York breakfast culture, because it's not like LA where there's breakfast places where you can go get eggs. It's like a little harder to do that on like a weekday,
Yeah.
But a bagel, I just can't. Once you go down that road, it's too slippery.
It is
too slippery. It's too slippery. I can't.
I don't care how much you whip the cream cheese.
Nah, bro.
I'm still gonna put enough of it on there.
Yeah. Well, they also famously in New York, they put so much fucking cream cheese. It's like enough for 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the wasteful. It's like the way
I love it.
Corporations book flights that they've known about for 6 months the week before, so it costs as much as possible. Mm-hmm. It's very similar. I'm like, why are we doing it this way?
I hope all y'all are listening, lazy ass producers. But that's actually a thing that that Carolyn and I have talked about before, where people mention like salt, fat, acid, heat. Like these are all like the scientific parts of what makes food taste better than other foods. And a thing, one of the other dimensions that we like is the feeling of knowing that we're never going to have to ration or run out of whatever we need to put in our mouth to feel satisfied by this. So that is to say, like the joy you get of like a bottomless, like free refills on something.
Don't bring up Chili's chips and salsa like that. Yeah. That'll get me hit my stomach.
Let's
grumbling.
do it again. Run it back. But like when you it's, let's say you and I and David Cho are going to go to Mission Chinese food, and they're like, hey, we dropped this one dish and it's really good. Let's say it's wings, and there's 3 guys and we're all big boys. We can all put down, half dozen just on our own. They drop a dozen wings and suddenly it's a little fight or flight. It's like, all right, how, am I going to be able to get enough wings where I feel like I got enough wings? And knowing that we're never, like when I get a bucket of ranch versus the one little half filled container.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I gotta be like judicious about every single bite.
Well, that's how it used to be in New York with plastic bags, and that was the greatest part about it, is that they give you a plastic bag for a coffee, for a fucking anything. Anything, you get a plastic bag.
Wait, you forgot your bag.
You had a nice collection of plastic bags under the sink for trash purposes, or if somebody needed to take something home. Now
that's
you got
going
these
in the bathroom wastebasket, isn't it, Chris?
Now you got these paper bags that fucking rip. They're stingy with the fucking bags, or there's some sort of, The one thing Trump is doing is getting rid of paper straws, which is something that I stand behind greatly.
Yeah. Even the turtles
I'm sure
agree.
You do too.
Even the turtles agree.
It's like, bro, get out of here. These milkshakes don't work that way, bro. Get out of here. The turtle community has stood up.
Okay, Woody, we were talking about the Drake video where everyone was wondering if it was real or fake, and if you haven't seen it, there's a video where a drone flies up to Drake's penthouse hotel room window and then begins, surveilling him candidly in his house, and then Drake comes out with an orange flip-flop and tries to throw it to shoo the drone away.
Let me say something about...
He does throw the shoe like the way a woman would do something.
Let me say this, and this is going to be embarrassing for me, but I knew that video is fake because when Drake comes out to throw the sandal, he had his actor face on. He's got a different face when he's in actor mode than when he's in fake thug rap mode.
He was mewing.
Yeah,
he was mewing.
But honestly, I was like, oh, this is fake. I could tell by the face he's making. He's making SNL face. He's not making hard face.
But also, that's a good point and a good tell. For me, my tell was, oh, why is Drake wearing cowboy boots inside of his hotel room? You would take those off, I'm assuming. Unless he was just getting home or just getting ready to leave.
His pedicure might have been, he couldn't bring his pedicurist with him to Australia.
Saying, of all, if he's wearing shoes, that's fine. If you got some ones on, whatever, it's fine. You got
cowboy
some
boots
Yeezys on, it's fine. But wearing the cowboy boot inside the hotel room, that's to me, that was a tell. But there's a chance that he organically comes out of his patio door, sees the drone there, and he knows in his head, I am Drake. There's probably a camera here attached to this drone. So he's subconsciously going to start doing blue steel face. He's going to start mewing just because he's a born content creator.
I just think anybody believing anything is real is pointless. Like, come on. Like, there's no way. It's just...
I'm saying Drake will walk past the reflection of himself on a Whole Foods and give himself that same look. But
that's true.
It had me wonder, because everyone's like, oh, of course it's fake. Another steak ad, blah, blah. I want to know how... I mean, obviously the answer is no or none, but like, what is that video have to do with a sports gambling website?
I think it has us talking about steak right now, and that it worked, and
because we said
and
steak.
It was on dailymail.com front page, and it's steak this, steak that. It's like it's honestly kind of,
so it's just simply name recognition.
I think it's kind of brilliant, unfortunately, in a lot of ways.
I agree. Well, that's how I feel about it. It is both amazing subversive performance art, as well as a instruction manual on how to further perpetuate our dystopian future. Like, it's like there's so many kids who are just like, why didn't I think of that? Of course I'm going to go fly my drone into every high-end luxury like I'm going to fly it into Sydney Sweeney's villa when she's staying in Kauai. So now everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. This is a great way for me to give our celebrities even less privacy. But on the subject of Drake and dystopia, somebody tweeted a photo of him in Australia, and there's all these... He's on stage, and the crowd is behind him, and every single person in the crowd is holding up a homemade sign, and instead of it, being like the OVO owl logo or like, a BBL Drizzy thing or whatever, it's people pleading with Drake for money.
That's because he gave a fan $25,000, and so the next night everyone showed up with a sign along those same lines. That's why.
But the signs are so like crazy. Okay, one of them, I got hit by a car and left the hospital. Help pay off my mom's mortgage, fund my child's first birthday.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
Yeah, my dog has to go to the vet. I can't afford an engagement ring for my wife. My father's in a nursing home, and he needs,
Imagine.
So Drake is like, I'm finally made it. I'm at the top. He's, Motley Crue is in the 80s. They're scanning the crowd to see which baddies are going to suck and fuck after the show. And Drake just sees people who are like, hoping for a handout because their grandparents are, can't afford transportation to the hospital.
I think that's the kind of behavior that Drake encourages, and he probably regrets that every day of his life. Probably regrets that every day of his life.
The up and the down thing.
He would much rather be fucking and sucking. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well. Okay. What else we got? How I flew on Delta into a cold and snowy location, and I would say the vibe on the airplane was a lot different when they when you're sitting in Delta One, they will have some lay flat seats will have the regular seat belt, and then it'll have the shoulder strap that you have to put on like when you're in a car or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were very adamant about making sure that shoulder strap specifically really gets thrown over the body, because there's a 1 in 4 chance that we're going to land this thing upside down, and that shoulder strap's going to come in handy.
I would happily be in a Delta plane crash if I don't die, if they gave me more. They're only offering 30 bands. They're only offering 30 bands per passenger. If you offered me 250, between 250 and 500,000, and I come away unscathed and get to tell that story for the rest of my life, that's a W.
Yeah, but it reminds me of like, if that happened in the 90s, like it's much more commonplace, it seems, or like, we all realize that human beings will take much less money than we thought. But you would hear stories about like, oh, that guy's mom was in a plane crash in the 90s, and like, oh, I mean, they're set for life. Like they're never worked, got 40 million, whatever. Like, so you'd hear those stories, and then now 30,000 is, but obviously, that's a starting point for a negotiation.
30 bands doesn't even cover my Goyard backpack and all the cash that was in it, bro. What you mean? Like, I do think it's a starting point, but I'm sure Delta's a little upset that that's the number that leaked. Because I mean, who's to say like who gets to decide how much money that's worth? It's kind of like a per case basis.
Yeah, but how does that not leak? I mean, if you're the Delta, damage control person, you're like, all right, now you got to promise you don't tell anyone this number where you could sell to TMZ for double that 30,000. Just this email.
Actually, Jason, TMZ don't pay that well, and I think
I've heard that they do pay well.
They do not. Like that whole New Yorker story talks about how like the Whitney Houston photo was like 10 grand or something. It's
it was
like
a
nothing.
Different time.
But
that is low.
I would say that's a better time because it was less competitive. You know what I mean? It was like TMZ was like the only game in town. But the NDA of it all is also crazy. Like if you're negotiating with, even on my favorite show, Landman, when a bunch of oil riggers died, the first thing they do before they pay you is make you sign something that says, you're not going to tell anybody that you signed this. You're not going to tell anybody that we paid you. That's like, I thought that was kind of par for the course for a giant corporation.
Yeah, and if you break that NDA, I'd hate to come back down here, senorita. And
imagine you break the Delta NDA, you're stuck on Spirit for the rest of your life. Fuck that, bro. I ain't even flying American. Fuck that.
You fucked up.
You fucked up, bro. Not even coach. We're not letting you on this plane.
Yeah, so we're blaming all of this on Trump, which is why every plane crash, once a day there's a new plane crash since Trump dropped. But even more glaring change in my Delta experience post-Trump was we have replaced the sunships with Cheez-Its.
I don't want to say that's the Chris effect, but I mean it feels like Somebody over
Yeah.
at Delta Corp knows what snack is superior, and Sun Chips haven't been good since 2005.
I know Dussy's listening, but Delta is listening too.
Comma Elta.
D apostrophe LTA. Like Monique.
No, I think that the beauty of the Sun Chip on Delta was that it's something you truly don't encounter anywhere else. So it felt
it's a
like
bygone
a fun
treat.
Yeah, it's like that contract must have expired, and then Big Cheez-It came in and said, "What do you want? We got flavors, we got regular, we got extra toasty.
We could do baked, fried, steam.
Yeah, what do you
want?
What do you? Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's just like when I order my catfish.
New England style, Manhattan style, Rhode Island style.
That's okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, that's actually bad to know for me because then I'll be tempted. The Biscoff wasn't enough. Now you got to tempt me with fucking Cheez-Its.
I do think the Cheez-Its may have been baked. They had a different mouthfeel to them.
I don't like that. That could have just been the air pressure and stuff. You know what I mean?
I guess you're right. I want to I want to disagree with you, but you are making some good points.
All right. So, all right.
I know that I'm the food expert, but you're a million miler.
I'm a million.
And actually, on our flight, Carolyn was sitting next to a guy who was thanked for his service for being a 2 million miler, and then everyone is like, "Damn, 2 million whatever." Immediately after, thanks another million miler, 3.
I know, dude. It's
you
crazy.
ever seen a 3 in the wild?
Sam Hine told me about this when he was flying to like a YSL show in like Hong Kong or something. And he was like, bro, every guy in Delta One was like a 3 million miler because they just go business. That's just what they run that program.
That Hong Kong run. Hong Kong.
All right. We have a guest today. Sarah Hoover is an author. Her book, The Motherload, is out now. And Jason and I both really enjoyed it. I'm in
the middle of enjoying it right now.
She's a real piece of work in the best way possible, and I'm glad that she took the time to chat with us.
Yeah, her book, it's a very real and honest accounting of childbirth and relationships. She's married to artist Tom Sachs, so you get to hear a lot of dirt on Big T. It's a wild fucking book, and Sarah's a really smart girl, and we had a good time chatting with her.
We'll see you at On Air Fest today, 11 a.m. with Jason Isbell.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow night at Jeans. Tonight at Jeans. We'll see you then.
Tonight at Jeans. Yeah, them Jeans. We got some special guest DJs, our friend Ludwig and Barclay opening. Come on down. No snow. Supposed to be sunny, and we're gonna play some dance music.
Thank you.
What are we talking about today?
I mean, we're gonna talk about whatever you want, Queen. The floor is yours, really.
I do feel royal.
Well, first of all, I was searching your name on other pods to see what pods you've done. Is this the first male podcast you've done?
Yes, I generally view your species as like the mortal enemy, but you came very highly regarded.
Okay.
And we're introduced by Tia, who does no wrong.
One of the greats. So you're saying that we're approved. We've made it past the usual barrier of men.
Yes.
The few, the proud.
Okay.
It's been promised to me that these are not two Justin Balonies or whatever the fuck his name is. And it's not even Baldoni, sorry.
Justin Baloney is better. It is better.
Okay.
But I think Justin Baloney's going to get off. I'm telling you right now, it's on her. Blake is the bad guy here. I'm telling you.
Well, no one's a good guy.
That's true. That's true. And I'm not saying #believe men. I'm just saying that I think that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are so powerful that they could have someone killed if they wanted to.
Yeah, I know. It's spooky, right? But like the most fascinating thing about all of this is we're all seeing how the sausage is made. Like, it seems like this is just kind of par for the course in Hollywood. Like, everyone's on the defensive. Everyone has teams. Everyone's spinning shit all the time. Like, you think politics are bad.
I know.
But Hollywood's actually bad.
That's why I like it. I think this makes them all cooler. Honestly, like, it's more interesting than their personas.
Well, that's not hard. That bar is in hell. But yes, agreed.
No, the bar is on the floor. The bar is on the floor. The bar is on the floor.
Okay, but so the way Chris said, he's not a #believe all men person. Are you a all men are useless person? Or do you like some men?
I like dick.
Okay.
Okay, here's the thing about men.
Unfortunately, it's attached to a man. I see where this is going.
I just called it out because I was listening to you on a great podcast with a person named Stassi.
Oh, yeah.
Stassi from Bravo?
From Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, one of the legends in OG. Okay, sorry.
One of our great minds in the audio space. And you, a quote I read of yours, you said, "Men are well-intended but useless," which is sweet.
I would like to give that some context.
Mm-hmm.
I think that culture does not adequately prepare men to be equal partners to women in this world. It's not your fault.
Well, as long as it's not my fault, because usually it is my fault. So that's kind of nice to hear.
In this case, like, I feel kind of bad, you know? Men have really failed me in my life, straight men.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to approach them with empathy because, like, none of you are that set up for success. Like, your moms have been jerking you off since you were 4. And, like...
Not literally.
Metaphorically.
Not literally.
No, not
My mom
literally.
listens to this podcast, so that's
Well,
interesting.
she is a sweet angel, but she's been doing your laundry your entire life.
Facts. She'll do Jason's laundry when he stays over at my parents' house. She's not it's full service.
Exactly. And she does it because it's easy for her because she lives in a patriarchy where she's had to develop a skill set where her executive functioning skills are wild. And she's like, you know what? Chris and Jason aren't capable of this. I'm just going to do it because it's not that hard for me. But the problem is she's like enabled your type to not have to go above and beyond and bend over backwards and have, 8 million multitasking things going on at once. So it's just hard for you guys to be, it's hard for you to be like equal partners to women in the world. But it's not because you're not capable. I don't think like men are genetically predispositioned to be useless. I just think you've been trained to be a little bit useless. But I still like you a lot.
Okay, but you're are you speaking of useless to planet Earth or useless to womanhood specifically?
Let's say Sarah, let's say you need a spark plug changed. Probably gonna have to call a guy for that, aren't you?
No, I'm gonna YouTube how to do it and do it myself because if I have to call a guy for it, I have to call him 9 fucking times to get him to like start doing. I have to nag him.
Yeah.
Well, y'all do be nagging though. Let's keep it a stack. If we're incompetent, y'all are nagging.
But she's saying she has to nag because it takes 9 nags for us to.
Do you
finally
think
get
I'm
the thing
nagging
done.
because it's fun?
I think there's some pleasure in nagging depending on the subject.
Well,
yes,
there is
do.
pleasure in nagging because I have built up resentment.
Sure. So
And it's one of the ways that I can get rid of that energy. Like,
blow a little steam off in the nag department.
totally. And also, I will say, like, for me, I'm often controlled by my hormones. This is my weakness. This is my Achilles heel. And when I'm a mix of hungry, annoyed, and hormonal, there's no straight white man that is safe.
yeah, that's every woman. To be fair, I think that's every woman.
Yeah.
I not that you're not a special snowflake, you are, but I'm that feels like something I've experienced before in my personal life.
Yeah, I keep a separate calendar, like, of my period schedule that I share with my husband just so he knows when to anticipate.
So hold on, you got a Google Cal that's just period based?
Yeah, that's my favorite to your species. Like, you're welcome.
Does the calendar have a fun name at least to gamify the situation?
It's called Red.
Like a Taylor album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's like my favorite charity that Bono's involved with.
Oh,
So
I know all about that one. I used to work at Gagosian. We did their auction every year.
it feels like one of the biggest scams that's ever existed, but I'm sure the money goes to the right place.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the inner workings, but I think any of those like massive charities, I'm not speaking about Red, I have no idea, but a lot of those big charities, I think there's just so much waste because there's like bureaucracy.
Well, yeah, all charities are created usually by a rich person to give a family member or spouse a high paying job where they can bury that in the charity. It's like when
Right.
Usher starts a charity, Usher's uncle is in charge of the charity and he's getting $1 million salary. Let's say, for example. That's a common.
Usher.
That was good. I almost thought he was here for a second.
Didn't have my glasses on. Is it you in the room, Usher Raymond? I don't.
Oscar, are you here with us now?
Okay, well, do you resent the fact that women have to sort of train men? Like it's your job. Like if you don't teach us men how to do all this stuff, then then it's never going to get done.
Yeah, I have resented that at times in my life, but I quit doing it.
You quit resenting or you quit teaching men?
I quit teaching. I gave up.
Okay.
You gave up. You said my life, my time as an educator is over.
Okay, yeah, I'm resigning, and I'm gonna let you all stay stupid. and figure your own shit out. I made it very clear to my husband at a certain point after the birth of my first kid, about a year after, 2 years after, we had like a real come to Jesus. And I was like, I no longer lift a single finger.
Sarah, to be fair, the book feels like a whole come to Jesus. That's what it is. It feels
I got
like.
him back.
And
I
you're saying
skewered that
you're having
motherfucker.
you're having post birth. It's time for another one, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus has risen again.
I'm not lifting fingers for men anymore. And it's like kind of working out.
Okay. When you see lift a finger, I need an example of something that maybe Jason and I would think is kind of normal day-to-day behavior when you're in a relationship, but something where you're like, I ain't doing that.
Like if my husband leaves dishes in the sink, previous to me would like resentfully put them in the dishwasher and like sigh to indicate I was annoyed. And now I just leave them there and I don't remind him. And then when he's like, there's no spoons. How am I going to stir my coffee? I'm like, that feels like an utterly you problem.
This feels like what some might define as a microaggression, but I understand where you're coming from.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like I understand how you could classify it as a microaggression, but can there even be microaggressions to white men, white straight men?
I don't think so. Look, I'll take all my lumps. I don't give a shit. I deserve everything that comes to me.
Okay, see?
I 100% agree with you. But
You're a true ally.
We like the lumps.
well, I'm also I take care of the household.
Good.
So the gender roles are reversed, you know?
But do you feel like you're really like? Do you take care of the household the way a woman would take care of the household?
I would say it's probably I'm not doing quite as good of a job, but I'm
Yeah,
getting
like
it
how
done.
thorough are you?
I mean, I'm scheduling things. I'm dealing with laundry. I'm dealing with dishes. I'm doing all of those things.
Did you say recently that you pack?
I don't know. I pack. I don't let a woman pack for me.
Okay.
Jason does.
And
No shade, Jason. No shade.
but when you pack, do you use packing cubes?
No, that's for women.
No, we're straight.
Okay.
We're straight.
Yeah, that packing cubes, I know they work, but that's too far.
Okay, got it. Just seeing where the chips fall. Now I understand.
Where's the line? Where the
No,
line?
I-
Okay, well, would you say that there is a thin line between being a well-adjusted straight male who can run a household, do dishes and laundry and clean the bathroom, blah blah blah? Is there a way that gets a little too far in that sort of cuck realm where you are no longer attracted to them? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like if you get a straight guy who's so good at doing all this shit,
You don't
will you
want
still
that.
want to suck
Yeah.
that dick?
You don't want that.
Okay, my attraction to men is really, I'm probably an anomaly, but it's really based on intellect and humor.
So you're saying you could? All right. Well, get ready.
Damn,
then.
you're different than these other hosts.
Get ready.
It's crazy.
You're saying you ain't
You're attracted to the mind.
you ain't checking for
I
the
know.
wallet? Come on now.
Well, while it certainly helps. But it
Okay.
helps because it usually, I mean, look, the worst case scenario is like a rich kid who's, I don't care how smart you are. If you're like a lame, lazy rich kid, that's not hot.
Yeah.
But if your wallet is incredible because you are ambitious and hardworking and brilliant, who'd you just yell at?
There's housekeeping knocking on the hotel door. Sorry.
Oh, got it. Okay, I thought you had a rich guy back there for me. I got really excited.
Yeah, he's got. It's not him. If he ducks down, there might be some rich guys back there behind him.
There are no rich guys in my hotel room right now.
Wait, where are you?
I'm at the Standard East Village.
Oh, hello. We could be in the same room right now.
We could definitely be in the same room. I'm on.
We should have. Sorry.
I'm in Soho too, but it's better to do it this way.
Yeah, that's fair. It's all awkward when you're like, how will we sit three abreast?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be
Well,
more.
we don't do video at all, so it's easier to edit when we're in our own little cutting room.
Okay,
booths.
this makes sense. Great. Wow, I approve of the
But
setup.
back to being a pocket checker. You're saying that a lazy rich kid, of course, no one likes that. But you're saying usually, or in some cases, if a man is sitting on a fat wallet, it's because he's good at something and intellectual in his own way. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, like intellect on its own doesn't get you very far if you're like, not ambitious and you just have a lot of ideas, but you don't do anything with them. But like a man who's really smart and figures out how to manage that intelligence into a way that makes him money is kind of like that's prime meat.
Oops, there goes my shirt up over my head type shit when you meet one of those fellas.
When you put it that way, this is who could disagree with that?
Okay, well, the original question that I was running into, like, if you find, like, is there a scenario where a guy is too good at all of these things that most men are devoid of? Like, if you got a guy who's like, I picked up the dry cleaning and I walked your dog and then I did this and then blah, 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 blah. Is
that just an assistant at some point?
Show me this man. Bring me him. Prove his existence, and then I'll let you know. Okay. Would you like to know my most controversial opinion about anything ever regarding men?
Sure.
Of course.
I advocate for a micropenis.
Okay.
He's going to be a good earner. He's going to work harder. He's going to outwork a big dick, isn't he?
Okay, I just am not one of those girls who's like, yeah, I want to get stuffed with something giant. Like, it actually hurts.
I get it.
I don't get, like, have you ever had stuff put in your holes? Like, I don't understand. Like, someone explained to me, maybe my, like, parts are made wrong or something, but, like,
let's not do that. Let's not do that. I'm sure your parts are fine. It's just different strokes for different folks. No pun intended.
Precisely.
But when you say micro,
I have encountered a micropenis before one time.
We all have.
And it was
every day when I look down.
See, there you go. You're a dream boy.
See, Chris?
When it was hard and I put my hand around it, it did not come up halfway into my fist. If that makes sense.
Okay,
Give you
that makes a lot of sense.
Idea of scale.
Okay.
And yet, I realized it doesn't totally matter. And it actually makes some stuff easier.
Well, how was his confidence level?
He was like cocky.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He like didn't care. And I would not, there was nothing about him that would have indicated this had I not seen him naked. Never would have known. Like, it wasn't like he was weirdly insecure about certain things or scared to take his pants off or warned me ahead of, like, nothing weird. It was just par for the course.
He wasn't driving a yellow Porsche.
He owned it. That is sexy, the confidence to have a micro penis and then to just
not care.
Here I am, little dick and all, and I'm going to get this nut off. And you're like,
and I'm like, I don't even know that you're getting this nut off because I can't even feel the micro penis, but it's fine. We're going to work this out.
You do
We're gonna
your
figure
thing.
out a
I
way.
don't really know. I'm kind of here with you, but like, you do your thing.
If you say so, honey, if you say so.
Exactly.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so you don't want all that baggage that comes along with the big dick, or is it just physically the size is not needed?
It's both. I think it's extraneous to have like all those extra, I don't know, girth inches, horrible words that I don't need. And we've all been like trained to think. I think that in culture, dicks have really been positioned as like a weapon. And men are like, yeah, my giant gun is so big. I'm going to like kill the enemy with it and rule entire civilizations. I'm Christopher fucking Columbus and I'm going to conquer new lands with this penis, right? Like, that's the vibe. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that just doesn't really appeal to me. I don't think it's necessary. I don't need a really large weapon. I just need a weapon that's used intelligently.
Leave the Draco. Leave the Draco in the car. The .22 pistol is perfectly fine for today.
Thank you. Yes.
So I've read the first third of your book. I haven't finished it.
That's okay. Did you not finish it because you were bored, or you didn't finish it because you're busy?
It's a time issue. I got it. I've had it I've been reading it for like a week. So
okay. Well, thank you for reading it at all.
Of course. And I've gone through a lot of ups and downs with it, and I've experienced a lot of highs, not lows, but I've experienced this feeling of like, oh my God, I can't wait to have my wife read this book. I think she's going to really relate to the way your outlook on life and how you talk about things. This is going to be great. And then I'll go to the next chapter and I'm like, my wife cannot read this book. My wife cannot read this book at all. And then it'll go back again. But I think the biggest overarching thing that I've taken from it as somebody who does not have a vagina and will never give birth to a child, I've learned from your husband's mistakes. I've used it as a learning tool of how to not be.
Yeah, it's an instructional
and that's
manual.
it's come to me at a very interesting, important point in my life.
I had the opposite takeaway. I think the dedication to work at all costs is something that I respect. Although it can cause problems in your home life if used incorrectly.
That's true. I mean, it's admirable and it's something that I find really attractive in a person. But when you reach the stage of life where you decide to have children, there are just certain compromises that like you're going to have to make. But it's like, I get it because, to be honest, in that first year, 2 years, or even like 3 years of a kid's life, like they're not really fully a person. And it's kind of the ideal time to escape off to work. Like now my kid's old enough that if I'm like, mommy has to, travel for work or whatever, it's like he has like a real emotional response to that matters. Like he acts out in school or whatever because of it. But when they're like 6 months old, they don't fucking know where you are.
Yeah, they're just a bag of flour and you just peace out, I'm going to go.
But wait, I have a question about what you said about your wife. Were you like, she cannot read this because you think she'll be triggered, or she cannot read it because it's like giving her fodder for all the ways that she's going to vilify you? Or
yeah, maybe a little. I mean, I was being a little tongue-in-cheeky. I mean, I think overall it would be really great for her to read it, but
I mean, I generally think women should be like kept in the dark and like not allowed to read books, but it's nice to hear that you might let her.
There we go. Welcome to How
Exactly.
Long Gone. Welcome home, Sarah.
Nice to be here.
Welcome home. We got to keep these women down where they belong.
Women are the only people that read books. Women are the only people that read books.
It's kind of
where I'm
true.
from.
I mean, demographically, like publishers know that men like.
Jason,
don't
which
read
book
books.
do you think a significant other should read less? The Miranda July book or Sarah's book?
I think Miranda July is more dangerous to my marriage.
I think so too.
That book is an instruction manual on how to cheat on your husband, and your book is not that.
No.
What I like about it is there's so many women in my life, friends, family, whatever, who have had kids. They need this book. I feel like it'll awaken things inside of women who are not even, like, because people are looking at your book and they're like, this chick really tells it how it is, warts and all. She's saying the bad stuff about childbirth that we're all not supposed to say. People who don't even know that bad stuff and bad thoughts about your child even exists. They've repressed that part of themselves so much. So I want to give your book to these people who, I think it could give people like legitimate awakenings about themselves.
I've been on this book tour, so I've been meeting like hundreds of women for the last couple weeks. And, it's like a self-selected group of people I'm meeting because they're going out of their way to come to my book event. But I have talked to so many women in their 70s who are like, I never had words for this, and I never knew that I was depressed and never even could like identify these feelings in myself. But now, having read your book, I realized that I've been depressed for the last 50 years since I had my kids, and I was like never able to recover. And I'm like, that's so sad. I don't want that to keep happening to women. Like, that's not okay.
50 years.
Yeah. Like, I've had multiple women say to me, having read your book, I now realize that I had postpartum depression after the birth of my kids, and those words weren't around. We couldn't say them out loud, even if they were.
Sure.
I didn't have access to therapy. I didn't have girlfriends that this was normalized with, that I could say, like, I actually hate this, and I'm not sure I like my kid. And I just have spent the last 50 years, like, dutifully doing what I'm supposed to do as a woman and a mother, but I've been miserable, and I've never found my sense of self, and I've never been fulfilled. And I think that's tragic.
Well, it's definitely tragic.
I think a thing that I've noticed in that same vein are the most tragic cases are the people who seem to feel lost in life, and having a child is going to fix all their problems. The last step to reach true happiness is when I shit out this kid. And then when that true happiness moment doesn't happen, I feel like that is the final smack of lifelong depression.
Well, yeah, there's a difference between expectation and reality when it comes to childbirth, and how fulfilling it will be to have a kid is very heartbreaking for those of us who don't have like a magical moment when the kid comes out and they don't fall immediately in love and it doesn't all become like sparkles and fun.
Well, hold on. Do you think that's actually something that happens, or do you think that people say that happens because they feel like they have to?
I think many, many people lie or are convince themselves.
Sure.
But
of course it happens to someone. I mean, yeah.
Yes. My second birth was very different than my first, and I had like a really positive experience. And when my little girl came out, I was like, oh, I get it now. Like I felt like a hormonal rush. I was curious about her. I was overjoyed. I wouldn't say I was like madly in love with her from the jump, but I felt like incredibly protective. When my son came out and they handed him to me, I was like, who the fuck is this? This cannot be my baby. I feel nothing.
Picked him
for
up with a pair of tongs.
But yeah. I was like, get rid of him. He's weird looking.
Get this little guy out of here. Who is this motherfucker?
Can we do this again? He's too ugly.
That's exactly what I thought. It looked like his head went through a frozen yogurt machine.
That's funny.
You know, only micropenises have been in there. But for real though, the way that he looked was like shocking. And I just realized how few depictions of like what actual birth and newborn stages and stuff most of us are confronted with. Like I had no idea they looked that weird. And it made me feel it was like all of my insecurities were brought out in this kid. And I was like, oh no, he's going to be stuck feeling bad about himself for his whole life the same way I did for most of my life. Like this whole thing sucks. Everything about this is misery. Why do people keep doing this? Are people really this convinced that having kids is, you know, gonna, like you said, fix them and make them happy when they're not? And I didn't even go into it that deeply unhappy. Like I really love my life. So it felt to me like that rupture from my old identity just wasn't even worth it, you know? I was like, oh, great. Now I've ruined my life. I don't get to go back to work for a while.
Clothes aren't going to fit the same way.
Yes, I feel disconnected from my husband, all this stuff. And for what? This sucks. But yeah, I think most people lie.
Do you or do you feel any responsibility or weight or guilt on the fact that your book is going to convince thousands of people to never have a kid? Or do you think that's cool and good?
I think that people having all the information they can before they make truly life-altering decisions that affect not just them, but like future generations is overall a good thing. And I know firsthand, as perhaps you do too, like there are aspects there. I have character defects because of the way that my parents treated me. And looking back, I'm sure many of the ways that they treated me were because they were stressed and unhappy as parents and did not know what to expect going into it and had 3 kids in like rapid succession and didn't have a ton of money and didn't have a ton of help, whatever. And like, I think it's okay if people don't perpetuate that cycle due to like knowledge that they have.
Yeah.
Also, though, you're not at the end of my book. It is pretty hopeful at the end. And I wouldn't say when you finish it, if you finish it, I'll be curious what you think. But it's not like a condemnation of having kids.
Yeah.
It's a condemnation of all of us lying and perpetuating fake narratives about what having kids is really like so that people go into it thinking it's all going to be like puppies and rainbows.
Okay. Good distinction. And I do plan to finish it, of course. It's great.
Thanks,
I'm really liking it.
Thank you.
I think there's a big issue with people thinking anything will make them happy.
Totally.
Like I just don't think that any one thing is going to magically overnight make you happy, especially one that comes with that amount of responsibilities and like life altering kind of situations.
No, there are women for whom ever since they were little, they dreamed of having children and it's their calling. Very small percentage of women that this actually applies to, if you ask me. But there are those women, and I'm like, go off. This is your calling in life. This is your passion. Have all your babies. Like, be a trad wife if that's what makes you happy. But I think for the most part, women are just really convinced especially when they don't feel fulfilled in the world, that this is going to be the thing that makes them feel fulfilled. And that is an absolute lie. And the only thing I think that at the end of the day can make you your best self is like figuring out your own shit. Yeah, and drugs.
Money and drugs. I'm saying money and drugs are the only 2 things that have ever made me happy. And one of them I can't do anymore. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do besides work.
Yeah, I know. They are great for a while. But I don't know if they're great always, you know?
No, of course not. But
they're
just
part
think
of a
that,
balanced
like,
diet, but they're not the whole diet.
I believe that
Correct.
Money can bring happiness before almost anything else. I think that is that any other thinking about that is kind of a lie.
Yeah. Money is awesome.
I'm not saying it doesn't bring more problems. I think that all of that's real.
Different people are better and worse at buying happiness and creating happiness with money. Like it's a skill to make money into happiness.
Yeah, I don't think it's just I think it's more of the peace of mind. I don't even think it has to do with the actual
security.
Yeah.
Like what you're buying with it doesn't matter. Like you could have a Honda Civic or you could have a fucking Ferrari. It's more about the understanding in your mind that there's just not that kind of level of anxiety.
Yeah, you know
that most
what
people
though?
have.
I So I was an art dealer. I worked at like a large international art gallery for 15 years before I wrote my book and sold it and stuff. And I met a lot of billionaires. And
Sure.
I would ask all of them, at what stage in getting rich did they feel like they had enough money? And they all are like, I still feel poor. The more money you have, the more your expenses grow, the more people you're responsible for. And you never, ever get to the point where you're just like, I'm so rich, nothing matters. I feel totally safe. All of them across the board would say to me, like, this could go away a million different ways any day.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never feel secure and safe and like I have enough.
Damn, that's sad.
That doesn't surprise me at all, but they still feel better than someone that's living in Section 8.
Yeah, and they also still have the ability to like smooth over whatever misery they're temporarily in or whatever panic they have with like massage it, whatever the hell they want, whatever makes them temporarily.
That's right. That's what I do now, and I only have to pay $50 for it, so it's looking good for me.
Go get a ketamine bag.
What kind of places are you going for that $50 massage?
I go to Grand Nature on right over here in Chinatown. It's the best. It's like Asian guys that smoke cigarettes before they come in and rub your back, but it's the hardest.
Oh yeah,
it's like the most pressure you can get. I think nice massages are fake. Like I think getting a high-end massage is a waste of money.
The epitome of pissing away money is getting a massage in a hotel.
I agree, but they don't do anything to my body. I need something more than that.
Oh, I need like my fascia to be ripped off of my muscle.
Scrape me, daddy, scrape me.
Right.
Scrape me.
But I also love a Chinatown massage. I like Water Lily.
Yeah, I know Water Lily. This place,
Grand Nature and Water Lily, great names.
Grand
is
Nature
it all one room?
Is disgusting. No. It's. I mean, yes, but there are some kind of shoddy partitions between beds. but
you can like hear the people groaning.
That's
next
me
to you.
usually because that's me. I've heard a lot of groaning. It also they tend to heat up food in a microwave.
Oh, I love that.
Which is, it's something fragrant always. I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna put this squid bow in there for 30 seconds. Give it a little kiss.
And I mean, I've literally seen a guy smoking on the street and then come upstairs, and I'm like, damn, that's the same guy he washed his hands, but you could smell a Marlboro Light coming from a mile away.
First of all, that was a Marlboro Red. I promise you that.
That's true. That's
with
true.
the filter not ripped off but chewed off.
Yeah. You know what? Doesn't matter if the massage brings pain upon my body, which is how I like it.
Every time I get a massage in a hotel, whether I'm paying for it or it's free, I'm like, I didn't need to do that. Like, I don't feel time. I don't feel anything after, unless there's like unless there's a whole water program that I'm involved in after or before the massage.
Water program.
But otherwise,
men and their water programs.
No, I'm not on my Huberman shit. I just mean, like, if you get a massage and you go to the sauna and then you get in a hot tub and then you take a shower, that is a different experience than just a massage.
I know. I'm trying to think of what to compare it to, but that kind of massage is like, I don't know, having a little bit of caviar or something, but it's not dinner.
No, you're right. It's light bites.
It's a treat.
It's light bites.
Yeah, it's a light bite.
It's a light bite. You're right.
Empty calories. Well, maybe I need to go hit a Chinatown massage while I'm here, y'all. I wanted to talk to you about the first chapter in your book where you're telling the story about having your after baby shower drug party at the chateau.
Yes.
I feel like you have a book of chateau stories in you, and it was so fun to read that chapter. Do you have any more gold in them hills?
I have so many chateau stories. I've spent so much time there, and I was very honored because Andre Balaz read my book, emailed me at 5:30 in the morning saying I stayed up all night at the chateau reading your book about the chateau.
Wow.
I'm really happy to not be married. We'll soon be getting a vasectomy thanks to your book, but loved it.
And that's big because he's a legendary stick man. Like, he's not married
you
by choice.
You would have thought Andre would have done that snip a little while ago.
Yeah, like, it's not invasive, y'all. Let's do it. I'm not against the idea of every man doing it at 13, like in lieu of a bar mitzvah. You just get that little reversible vasectomy, and then you just don't have to worry about things for 20 years.
That does sound.
Honestly,
Let's
great idea.
Let's normalize
Thank
it.
you.
Let's
And
normalize
if everyone does it, if it's a government mandated thing like you want it to be, then we'll get so good at doing the vasectomy. It'll be like getting your chicken pox vaccination. It'll just be in and out.
I would feel more comfortable with the government telling me what to do with my body if I just got to tell little boys a little bit what to do with their body, just a little bit.
Honestly, that's really smart.
Like it feels fair.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I don't.
Okay, thank you.
There wouldn't be any pushback either, so it'd be really
No,
it goes
absolutely
right
not.
smooth.
It could help. I don't see. It could help with our overpopulation crisis as well.
Yeah, Elon would love it.
They're trying to get that.
We got to kill a lot of us.
That new law through in one of the southern states where you're fined $10,000 for ejaculating unless you were trying to procreate.
Oh, people will love that.
Where is this? Was this in
I
Singapore?
like
Did you learn that
Missouri
one the hard way, Chris?
No, it's in Missouri. But I was like, how do you police that? Like, what do you mean? Like, how does this even?
I know how. Come sniffing dogs.
That has to be it. There's no other. I have no idea how they would be able to
Like cameras in every bathroom.
No, I think it'll be once the Elon Musk Neuralink chip is mandatedly inserted inside of our body. Like if I'm wearing a Fitbit right now, your Apple Watch, it will know when you come.
Okay, the thing is, that's not even going to have to be mandated. Everybody's going to want that chip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a sad thing.
Everyone is already wearing these tracking devices on their body
I don't got
willingly,
no
and they're paying for it.
No
Not you,
devices,
Chris.
bro.
Not
no
you.
devices. Also, but our obsession with being surveilled is a little misplaced, I think. Like, who cares? Like, 99.9% of people have boring, banal lives, and it doesn't matter if Google knows where you are. It just doesn't matter.
Okay, I remember like when I went to college, my dad being like, be really careful, never give anyone your social security number. Like, be so careful. And I was like, for what? What do they steal my sad identity? I have no money. Like, what are they going to do?
I'm with you. Take it.
Right?
If you want it, take it.
Like, we'll
Have
figure it out
They
later.
can absorb my debt and bad credit score. Go right ahead, y'all.
Yeah, you can have this.
Good luck with
Please.
that.
Although I have been getting served a lot of credit card scammer videos on Instagram Reels, and it has been quite eye-opening.
Oh, like some really thought out.
No. It's like the hood shit where it's just kind of like we skim numbers and then we have fake cards and we go to the ATM and we just take all the money out of your account.
Like they install the little thing onto the 7-Eleven credit card machine and you
Right.
put it in and it steals their yeah.
Okay, this is why everyone needs to live in New York City, because you know not to use the 7-Eleven ATM that's on the fucking street.
Any ATM on the street.
learn that.
I've only used an ATM on the street if you're getting money to buy cocaine. There's no other reason to use that
Of
ATM.
course. Yeah. Wait, I completely agree.
It's too cold, too. It's like cold. It's like just go into one of the Bank of America homeless shelters and fucking get your cash out.
Precisely. Wait, I have a lot of really good Chateau stories, but I will say, I don't know, I've had a lot of parties there, but probably one of the smartest things I've ever done, it's a short list, but was making the invitation to my kids, like sip and see baby shower thing. No gifts unless it's
Sip and
drugs,
see.
because everyone wants to bring a new baby gifts and they feel very generous around a new baby. And they brought me so many drugs at that party. Everybody came in with a different little Ziploc baggie of something for me. And I kept it all in my hotel safe, and I had everything you could have ever wanted for a month. I could have become a drug dealer after that party.
Okay. So there was a dangerous cocktail inside of your Chateau safe.
Yes.
I hope you were managing this drug use responsibly.
I was being very irresponsible about it, but it only impacted me personally. My husband doesn't do drugs. And it was really fun. Now, what happened, and you'll get to this part of my book too, is that I went back later on with my kid, and he started seeing ghosts in that hotel. And it was very convincing. He was like, for days, being like, the mean man comes to visit me at night. The mean man comes at night. He's so mean to me, blah, blah, blah. And finally I said, next time the mean man comes, just tell mommy and I'll come in your room and protect you. And he grabbed my hand and he pointed at the like sliding glass door in our bungalow. And he was like, he's here now. He's right there. He's watching you.
Was it DiCaprio drunk looking for his room?
Damn it. Look, could have been. That would have been fun.
That could have been
And I
Andre
called
himself. I mean, we don't know.
There's a whole cast of characters there that it could have been. Oh, and then I also had a crazy time there because I was there during the pandemic when the hotel was like pretty much closed. And there were only like 6 of us there. I was there for like a month.
Mm.
And that was a really funny group of misfits who were hanging out.
Was it George Cortina and Lucas Sabat?
That's the 2 of them were part of the crew, but they were
This sounds like
I love George Cortina.
Sounds like a Star's original screenplay ready to happen. I gotta say, yeah. Who else
I know,
was
I
there?
should get on that. Okay, there was a guy
Shout out,
who, when I checked in, they were like, when you go down to the pool, you're gonna see a guy with really long hair, and he's gonna seem weird, but he's just on acid. And I got down to the pool, and there was a man standing on a pool chair with like hair down to his waist, wearing a towel like a diaper, like tied around him like a diaper.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just standing on the chair, like staring off into space for like an hour. And I don't remember his name, but he was there. And no, you want to know what's so funny? His grandparents...
Rick Rubin.
His younger than that. His grandparents invented the artificial Christmas tree.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm not making this up. Okay.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite when someone's like, what's the money from? Well, actually,
I'm intrigued.
I was like, that's not real. That's like inventing the Post-it note. Like, you made that up. And they were like, no, it's real.
Someone's got to do it.
I was told once that someone I worked with was very wealthy because her dad invented the Furby, and nothing has ever topped that one for me.
Oh my God, that's great. So that guy made his money, got out, and he just like, he kept that fortune, do we think?
Because some people are always like, oh, it's the screw they use on every train
Right,
or something.
right.
You know what I mean? It's like one of those
I was
things.
the first guy
like,
to make
Furby.
ladders out of aluminum instead of wood, wouldn't you know?
Yeah. It's I like something that's a little more consumer facing in the pop culture.
Well, the thing is about this, the screw on every train, you're like, I understand why you got rich. Like, wow. But the Furby, that's like right place, right time. That's luck. Like, if that product had hit 6 months too early, no one would have cared. But it was just the perfect timing with everything else going on in the zeitgeist that people were like, oh, something cute. I, as an adult, want that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't remember that much about Furbies, but they were like collectibles, right? And they like moved.
They moved. It was like a
hard plastic stuffed animal, and you put a
It
double A
danced
in
and
there,
shit.
and his eyes will open up and stuff.
But the main thing was that it was the Christmas present you had to get your child for like 3 years running.
Wow.
Which I think is all you need to kind of cash out.
Okay, well let's get back to this Chateau story. Sorry.
Oh, don't apologize to me. Okay, so there was the guy whose grandparents invented the artificial Christmas tree who was always on acid, and every day for like a month would be like, do you want to come to my room so I can read you my screenplay?
Oof.
And I was like, no, I don't. You could read it to me down here at the pool. And also, I think was like dosing everyone at the hotel. And it was really spooky because it was during COVID. So there were entire floors of the hotel that just had all the lights off, that were totally shut down. And then random people who are staying long term in different rooms. And so we would all meet in the garden. There was no like food, you know, but we would all meet in the garden and use the bar and like make ourselves drinks every night and have like cocktail hour. It was like being in a nursing home.
Wow.
It was really funny.
It's like waking up after everyone on planet Earth died, and it's just you and Diaper Boy and Lucas Sabat
Yep.
making some gimlets at 3.
It was exactly that. And I had really fun parties. I would like use all the pots in their industrial kitchen and like cook lobsters for 40 people in my room. And it was really fun. I had a great, it's the best part of COVID.
How do you begin gaining access to a place like this? Because it's such a sought after hotel that you can't buy your way in there.
That's why it's cool.
But how did you ingratiate yourself into the Chateau family?
Once you spend enough money there, I think you can be in the family.
Yeah, I stayed there a bunch. And also, like, all the people who work there are extremely cool.
Yeah, that's true.
So I became friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I had known Andre from before because he's, in the art world in his own way. And I think it's the kind of place that, like, rewards creative individuals.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of like artists that I know, and
I think they reward. Yeah, I think if the Amex swipes, they'll reward your ass real quick.
that also really helps.
Yeah, you're like, I would love for you, please. I mean, it's the one hotel that I love where they encourage you almost to smoke indoors.
Yeah, and you don't like see a ton of douchebags there.
True.
Considering where it is.
It polices itself pretty darn well.
I don't know if I'm going to agree with this one, but I see it's better than some places.
Well, I'll put it this way. I went to LA and checked into the Beverly Hills Hotel because I was like, I'm really going to treat
Well,
myself.
that's different. That's.
And Fox News, I went to the gym and Fox News was playing on every TV.
Yeah.
What's the issue there? Do you not like news?
Would we call it news?
You have to get your news from somewhere. I don't know. That's just me.
Every dude there was like wearing a baseball hat inside and, gave me strong Republican vibes. And I'm sure they were all really rich.
They're all from Dallas.
And I was like, these aren't my people. Yeah. And I was just like, staying in a hotel is a real treat. These aren't my people. And those people would never stay at Chateau because they'd be like, ew, it's like old and dirty and not fancy enough. Great. Keep it that way so that they know their place and they stay somewhere fancy.
Well, Beverly Hills Hotel is also, it's still owned by a problematic, Saudi family.
What hotel isn't, honey?
There's a whole, people were boycotting it. No, but people were particularly boycotting the Beverly Hills Hotel because of who owned it.
Oh, yeah. At one point, they had protesters outside and stuff like that.
And then people stopped. But people were protesting the Chateau too. So.
Well, there was a point, I think, where all the big agencies were like, no lunches at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Like, we can't support that regime. But seems like none of those agencies have retained that level of being political.
We can't support that regime of all those expensive salads. We have to draw the line somewhere.
Every regime is at the Chateau having dinner every night.
Yeah.
I also, Hollywood is not a place I would ever think of as moral as far as where they're spending their money.
I can't explain. That was like such a blip, It just seems so not where Hollywood is now. Like, they all seem in Trump's pocket.
They have to be. There's no other way they don't really have much of a choice if they want to get things done.
Oof.
Lastly, to square this circle, what's your hotel bill after 30 days at the Chateau?
Interesting fact, when you stay in a hotel for more than 30 days, you don't pay tax.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you're considered a resident.
Oh.
So dare I say it's a deal?
Well, I guess technically...
Just like anything, you buy it in bulk and they'll cut you a deal, huh?
Right.
Whether we're buying bumper stickers or days at a hotel.
I want to talk about you getting sick.
Which kind of sick?
When you got the mouthful of water.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible. I don't recommend that.
I didn't know that was. I always thought that
I drink water all the time. What's the deal?
That was something that was over exaggerated by people. But then your retelling of it was like, damn, this sounds terrible.
Yeah, there were moments where I was like, I might die here. But the thing is, if you've never shit the bed, you haven't lived. You have to do it at least once. You have to know what
Jason, she swallows a mouthful of seawater, and it basically, what does it give you?
It had raw sewage in it.
Okay. So some people get pink eye. You had pink body.
But I thought...
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
And I was incredibly sick. It lasted like a month.
Ooh.
See, another one of the many reasons that I will not take up surfing, no matter what. I have to resist.
What city was this beach in?
I was in Indonesia when I drank that water.
Okay.
I'm sure that their government has a different relationship to the way they treat water in their beaches or whatever. And I think it had been really rainy and the sewers had overflowed and no one told me there might be raw sewage here. And I took a big drink of water and it was almost instant and very terrible.
I just felt like there had been so much shit going on already. I was like, this is really just bad luck.
I know.
Like at a certain point, I was like, this is just. I feel bad. This is just. There's nothing.
Can a bitch get a break?
Literally.
That's what it felt like.
They say God gives you what you could handle, but I could not handle that. Like it really messed with me, broke my brain, and then I had to I would have murdered my husband had I had a real weapon. Like I was enraged and also very weak.
Did your husband force you to drink the seawater? Why would you murder him?
For existing, but also he made me go surfing. He's the one who made me go surfing.
Got it.
You're going to get there and then you're going to have even more questions for me.
Yeah.
No, sir, I just, yeah.
Okay. So you're saying you haven't lived. Everyone at least one time in their life should shit the bed, literally speaking.
Yes, I think that it's really interesting to know that level of depraved desperation and misery.
I kind of see your point. I kind of see your point on this. I think I might be with you.
Yes, you have to know what it's like. Like I remember feeling that sick and being like, "Oh my God, I know what it's like to be like a horrible addict or to live in squalor. Like this is
right. You touch the bottom of the floor."
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I see. I mean, it also probably has some sort of meditative Zen-like qualities to it. I mean, people say because of like smartphones and everything, the last time where we truly are alone with ourselves and our thoughts is when we're vomiting, because it's like your body cannot consume anything at that, during those brief moments. But I feel like when you're actively shitting the bed, that's the only thing that you can think about for those few seconds, right? Or minutes.
You're not wrong. And there's the Zen-like thing about it where you're like, oh, I can't control this. It's very like Buddhist. You're like, I give into the universe. Everything is temporary. There's nothing I can do about this. I give up. I can't fight it. Like, my body is forcing me into this horrible position, and I'm just going to let it happen and lay here, and like whatever happens next, we'll get there. So yes, it is spiritual.
Yeah. The freedom of it's impossible to put the train off the tracks. It's coming and it's about to hit.
Yeah, you get it.
Make peace with that. Okay, well, I mean, I guess I would say I've already shit the bed, but I don't think I have. I mean, unless when I was a baby.
You have so much to live for.
I know, right? First day of the rest of my doo-doo life, baby.
It's coming for you.
Speaking of doo-doo lives, now that you are more famous because of being a successful author and writing a great book, are you now, or are you going to become an influencer? Are you going to use your fame?
I don't think I'm very famous, but even if I were 10 times the profile I do, I have no interest in becoming an influencer.
I don't know if you have much of a choice if you keep going in this direction. They're going to find you and they're going to make you do it.
But the thing is, first of all, I don't love following direction. So if someone came to me and they were like, we'll give you money if you do X, Y, and Z, I automatically feel allergic to that. I like to question authority figures and people telling me what to do. And also, there's no world where I would ever promote something I don't care about. I don't have that energy. And even if I did and I made myself do it, I wouldn't do it well.
Well, you need to start caring about more stuff, I think, is the issue. Maybe you need to care more about everything.
Yeah, maybe you just haven't figured out the right way to fall in love with Squarespace.
That's my problem.
Exactly.
You're not the first person to say that to me, Jason.
We will advertise anything because we feel so passionate about so many different things.
Is it possible to just simply love advertising?
Yes, absolutely. Have you seen Mad Men? But I'm not one of those people, and I just don't know. I don't know if the influencer life is for me. Also, I don't get a lot of joy out of creating content. And I feel like my life is better when I don't look at social media at all. And I don't think any of this adds up to being a good influencer. So I don't know if that's a path for me.
Okay. Well, you could be like the anti-influencer. You know what I mean? No, I understand. I think that if you don't feel passionate about content creation, you should avoid the field altogether.
Totally.
That's the backbone of influencing.
Yeah. And the people who I look at who I'm like, oh, you're good at this in your little niche area, it's really fun for them and they like doing it every day. Because that's the other thing about it. You have to do it so much.
Yeah. Oh, you have to do it every day,
dabble.
literally every day.
You have to do it until you die.
And I don't want to do anything like that. That's not for me. So no, I don't think that that's a path I'm going to take. But what do you think I should do with my life?
I mean, I feel like art dealing is one of the more profitable things that someone can do if they're good at it.
Yeah.
But I imagine you don't want to return to that because you have this new freedom of being able to come and go as you please.
I have a new freedom, and I did it for a long time, and I did it at the top for a long time. And it's like, where am I going to go next?
So what's your personal collection looking like?
Well, I collect art that is made by my friends, artists that I know in the world that I love. And my husband's an artist, so sometimes I'll force him to trade with other people.
Sure, of course. But I mean, you weren't at the height of this, you weren't buying anything that caught your eye. You were mostly trading or buying from friends.
No, I was selling art that cost millions and millions of dollars, which unfortunately for me was not wasn't feasible for my budget. But
you weren't super liquid at that moment.
Yeah, just not at that moment. Now that I'm an author.
Well, now that you're an author, I mean, you asked what should you do with the rest of your life. Now that you're an author, obviously a lot of doors have opened up and people will hear what you got to say. I see you in a position of working in Hollywood, not as a showrunner or a director, but maybe as just a creative consultant. You just going in and telling Netflix we need shows about this, cancel all that shit. here's what works, here's what doesn't work, something like that.
First of all, that sounds extremely fun. And second of all, someone needs to do that for them.
Yeah.
Because I get the sense that all these big streamers, that every decision is made by like a committee of people who don't really know.
Yeah.
And it's like, most of it's so bad. How does that happen?
I think it's because, it
taste
works.
is bad.
I
It
know.
works.
Well, yeah, most
That's what-
people have bad taste, but it's possible to do it good as well.
No, it's not. Because if you do it good, nobody's going to want to watch it. Like Love is Blind is popular because it's not good. That's the whole point. And more people want to watch that than watch something that's quote unquote good.
What if there was, I've thought about this before, where there's 2 tiers for Netflix or 2 tiers for anything, where it's like Netflix and then Netflix Plus, and it is sort of like Netflix for smart people, Netflix for children and dum-dums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There are like 2 different parts of my brain that I like to activate at different times. Like there are nights where I just want to go blind watching Real Housewives of literally anywhere. And I just want to like zone out.
Go blind, your tongue is hanging out of your mouth. You're just like, ugh.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. And then there are nights where I'm like, oh, like I want to watch like a really well-crafted documentary. But it's not the same, Sarah.
Yeah.
Those are 2 different versions of me, you know? So I actually think this is a great idea because there should be some way to distinguish between like the really high-end stuff and the drivel but we all need both.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think there is a way. It's called the search function on any streaming service. You can just kind of go in there and find what you're looking for. That's the whole
the same
value
way
proposition.
that we have an age restriction rating system where like NC-17, you know, kids can't watch this, whatever. Just put that same rating system on the content and be like, this is for idiots. Then this is for people who think they're smart. And then
I think the
dum-dums can be
keyword
like,
the keyword is people
that.
who think they're smart. That's the keyword because
Exactly.
that's exactly
Well, that's the whole point of it.
who would buy into that system.
I would love to do creative consulting though because there has never been a TV show or really a movie that captures the art world correctly and well. And I think that we could.
Not even the City featuring Whitney Port.
Was that set in the art world?
Was there art world in that?
I think they went to like Chelsea gallery parties and stuff.
Sarah, you're telling me Gallery Girls is not representative of the art world?
I'm sorry to break this to you.
Did
15 years later.
Did Sex and the City come the closest? Or did HBO's Girls come the closest?
Wait, Girls didn't really come the closest. I know there was that storyline of one of the characters who dated an artist.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't quite it to me. And Sex and the City, I can't really speak to it because that storyline about Charlotte, well, way back, like in the early season when she worked in a gallery and there were like the power lesbians. Remember that episode? Or have you not memorized all the Sex and the City episodes like me?
I've memorized most of them. Pause.
That's like the gallery world in the 90s. That predates me by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't in New York yet then, and galleries were not international then. It took until the early 2000s for there to be galleries that were big enough that they operated on like multiple continents, right? So it was kind of a different world then anyway. But no, I don't think either of them really nailed it. And also the art world was like they dabbled in it, but it wasn't the backdrop for the show. And I'm like, I don't know, someone should make like a Mad Men of the art world or Sex and the City set in the art world or something like that, because it is the most interesting and opaque of all of the big business worlds to me.
Yeah.
But I think the opaqueness is what keeps it from happening.
Yeah, because they don't have a consultant. Hello.
Well, I think more because of the internet and us being a global citizenship, the opacity has grown to now we have enough people who are into like, I want to know about billionaires and conspiracies and backdoor deals and like shady weapons deals and trading for art. Like there's a lot of stuff there that people will be interested in now.
Oh,
I believe.
Yeah. We all have stories that would be so entertaining that feel like they're from TV and movies that are real life, you know?
Well, the beauty is, like I said, doors have opened for you because of the success of this book. There's somebody listening to this right now who's going to send their agent an email to talk to you about developing this show.
Oh my God, fingers crossed. Thank you. You've really setting me up for life.
My hand to God.
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. I hope you had fun potting.
Thanks for having me. I had so much fun.
Thank you, Sarah. It was a pleasure. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you. I'm sure we'll see you soon.
The Motherload, a memoir, is available now, and you could listen to it on Spotify audiobooks.
I narrated it myself.
For free.
I was hoping you narrated it yourself.
If you don't hate the sound of my voice, then I recommend I'm not like an audiobook girly, personally.
No, me neither.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you. And
Likewise. Nice to meet y'all.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.